Hey everyone, welcome to the Wrestling Experience.
where we have no problems Superman punching our cousin straight in the face.
That was just insane, and I have to
I
say
couldn't believe it.
a really good episode of SmackDown. But I'm Jazz,
I'm Johnny. Got a
and
friend.
we are the Wrestling Experience. If you like our content, make sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and you can also check our description box where we have basically wherever you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and all over the interwebs. So, SmackDown, what an episode. I was entertained from the beginning to the end, man. Like, it was such a breeze to go through this 2 hours.
I somewhat agree with you. There were parts in the middle for me that felt maybe dragged on or a little uninteresting, but I will say that it was a very good sandwich because the opening segment and the ending segment were by far the strongest
I
parts of
like
the
that. I
episode.
like that.
The
A great
meat, though,
sandwich.
the meat of the sandwich, which is really what you have a sandwich for, right? Because it's not about the bread; it's usually about what's inside the sandwich. Some of it wasn't as good. Maybe there was uh, like rotten piece of lettuce in there. Okay, enough of this sandwich
I was gonna
metaphor. We
say a
can
good
start.
Oreo, but I guess a lot of people go for like the cream, and so I guess that's not really a good analogy either.
No, it's terrible. Like, I mean, what? Why do you cut? Why do you have an Oreo for the cream? Is it? I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, both are good.
Sure. So we're gonna open up with SmackDown, and there's a sea of ladders. There's basically there's a mention that that the three men fighting for the IC title, they're going to be in this match. But how it all started is that it was first announced that it was Jeff Hardy versus Sami Zayn, right?
Correct. But
And
before we have that, we
yeah,
have what's called an ascension ceremony, which is
yeah,
basically them putting the titles on the hook that will be lifted to the top so that they can reach for it later. I don't know why they're doing it now. I mean, I guess it's in the Thunderdome, so they're going to just be there like tomorrow or in 48 hours for their actual match.
yeah. So we have an in-ring interview with Corey Graves. He hypes up the triple threat match this Sunday. He also hypes up Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy later tonight in a first ever IC Ascension ceremony, as you mentioned, whatever that means. And basically, AJ Styles, he comes up, he gets on the mic, and he tells that he tells Jeff Hardy to savor the moment because this is the very last time that he's going to hold that championship. He calls him a cheater, and then he moves on to Sami Zayn, who looks more and more like a hobo, and I love it. And he
Yeah.
asks him, "Why are you here? Like you've been chilling all summer, growing that little neck beard of yours," which kind of got a chuckle out of me.
This
And
was comedic gold by AJ Styles.
oh,
I
it
mean,
was
I really
it
I
was
really enjoyed it.
beautiful. He also reminds him that he actually beat him last week, and that's true. And Sami Zayn quickly retorts, and he's like, "Listen, I smell a conspiracy. This match shouldn't be happening according to me, and I'm like the title is rightfully mine." And he basically mentions, as he's been mentioning the last couple of weeks, that Jeff Hardy is actually holding a fraudulent title. And Jeff Hardy has had enough, and he's like, "Listen, Sammy, I agree with AJ Styles because unlike you, we have actually defended our IC title, some more than other. And this
I
Sunday,
love
it's
how
actually
AJ chimes in and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the smartest person in the ring here."
yeah, and this Sunday is your chance to claim, like it's your chance to make your claim legit. So yes, you claim that you're the rightful champion, but just beat us, and your claim will be legit. So they hang their titles, they slowly raise it up, and Sammy isn't done because as AJ and Jeff Hardy are kind of mouthing off to each other, Sammy throws the ladder towards them, and then he kind of hits Jeff Hardy with a couple of cheap shots.
Yeah, he attacks both of them and then escapes, and then Adam Pierce shows up
Yes.
and says, "Well, your match with Jeff is now a triple threat match. So now we're getting the match we're going to see at Clash of Champions minus the ladder part. Although there are ladders surrounding the ring, there
Yeah.
won't be any ladders involved in the match." And then we have kind of a nice little sneak peek of what we're going to see on Sunday. Although it did feel a little bit toned down, I think they're
Yes.
saving some stuff for Sunday.
But I'm
But
happy that
it's
they got a solid 15, 20 minutes to open
Yeah,
up
the only
the
thing about the
show.
match was it was very much like like a one-on-one match while one guy was sleeping on the outside. So like it started with like two of them, one guy gets knocked out, and so on, and
Yeah.
it kept kind of going back and forth. There was some action on the outside too, but nothing crazy. I think Jeff took a bump on the announcer table as well.
Well, and also what was interesting is that we didn't get to see any alliance whatsoever. It was just, three men beating the crap out of each other. As you're saying, yeah, two men fighting, then one of them just sleeping, taking...
There was a little bit of an alliance. At one point, Jeff Hardy did use Sami Zayn's back to catapult himself onto Jeff Hardy, as though Sami Zayn was Matt Hardy and this was a tag team match. That was about the only interaction they had.
And the match did
kind of cool.
Take a while to get started, in my opinion, but I remember at one point Hardy hit an incredible Whisper of the Wind on both men. Styles actually looked good as well, having momentum most of the match, I would find. And even Sami got some impressive moves, but again, like, he looks homeless. Like, there was at one point, I remember even on Twitter, like, he posted a photo of himself in match, and it just looked really, really hilarious. But hey, he's a crafty man, because the match ends with AJ Styles hitting the phenomenal forearm, but Sami actually throws him out quickly, and then he gets the pin on Jeff Hardy. So Sami Zayn wins this match.
Yeah, so this makes me happy and a little sad, because I'm kind of hoping Sami Zayn is the winner on Sunday, and the law of reverse momentum suggests that he won't be. Even more so with what happens next, because AJ is not done. After commercial, he's still there, and he like takes a ladder out and he starts beating them both down and slowly climbs the ladder and unhooks the both Intercontinental titles, which I guess what was the point of putting them there if he was going to unhook them prematurely before the match?
So Sami Zayn wins the match, which means that he's probably not going to win on Sunday. But then AJ Styles basically climbs the ladder and he basically holds both titles, so he's not winning either, right?
The law of reverse momentum states that Jeff Hardy is going to probably win on Sunday, which is like the last thing I want to see personally, but hey, I'll take it. It's as long as they put on a great show, which they most likely will. Yeah,
most likely. So a great opener, I would say. And we are going to jump backstage, and the clock is ticking for Otis because Kayla introduces them and wants to know what's going on with the lawsuit. And, Otis's mom basically told him that there's three things that he can't trust: carnival clowns, 1% milk, and lawyers.
What about regular clowns that are not from the carnival? Are those okay?
Clowns are just creepy to begin with.
Absolutely. Why do you think it was such a successful movie?
Well, Miz and Morrison, they cut him off, and they say that they only want a Mr. Money in the Bank that the people deserve, like someone who's worthy to actually be holding this briefcase. And I love it because the whole commotion is going on, and John Morrison is like filming the whole thing on his phone.
He wants to catch some aggression, some assault, because that's just going to be good for the lawyers. Does he get the footage? He does get something, because at one point Tucker mentions that Morrison's name is not on the contract, just Miz's name. And Morrison looks kind of distraught by this, but we don't really get a chance to see how that develops, because Otis is just upset at this point from all the mentions. They mentioned Mandy as well, so he just attacks them. So I guess Morrison did get some footage of Otis attacking.
Yeah, pretty much. It seemed that the Miz only protected himself and not Morrison. But again, like, I feel like for me, to be quite honest with you, I really don't care about this whole storyline until the contract is actually on the line. I think that would kind of give this storyline a little bit of meat.
Well, it's got to be going to that, right? Otherwise, it's kind of pointless.
But something that does have a lot of meat, and something that I'm still heartbroken over, is what we have next. Bayley is out, coming to the Thunderdome. She's holding a chair. Looking like $1 million. She's holding a chair, and she makes herself comfortable on the ramp. So she's not even in the ring. She's just sitting there, and we see basically a footage of what she basically did to Sasha, and she talks about watching that footage over and over, and it's never gonna get old for her. And unlike Sasha, though, she has work to do, because she has a championship match against Nikki Cross this Sunday to prepare for. And then she leads her attention to Nikki Cross, and she's like, "Listen, I admire your heart, I admire your fighting spirit, but Nikki Cross hasn't beaten Bayley in a long time."
And Nikki Cross's theory that Sasha Banks is not there is going to give her an edge isn't really valid, because Bayley's basically like, if you saw what I did to my supposed best friend, just imagine what I will do to you. And she's sitting on the broken chair that was basically bashed over Sasha's back several times. I'm surprised it's actually a suitable chair. And then she gets up and basically says that Nikki Cross is not going to win, and that's her segment, which was a very strong segment. I enjoyed her promo. Bayley's been knocking it out of the park week after week.
Again, I don't think that if you asked me, let's say, a couple of years ago, that Bayley would be a solid promo, I'd be like, oh, well, she's okay, like she's fine. But this promo was really fiery, and even with the whole thing of her mentioning at the end, like, oh, you can just ask Sasha, what I did to her, right? So I thought that again, like, just kind of put the exclamation point on this feud, and I don't see Bayley losing this unless Sasha like interferes. But I really hope that this feud is for the title. I really hope that Sasha is the one that dethrones Bayley.
That was my theory, right? Nikki Cross takes the title. It made sense, but after what happened a couple of weeks ago, I'm off that train. I don't believe that's going to happen. I just think Nikki Cross is going to lose. Maybe Alexa Bliss will be involved as well somehow, because that's also kind of a storyline that's kind of closely tied to this one. So we'll see what happens. It is going to be happening on Sunday at Clash of Champions, so we don't have to wait much longer.
So we do have Shinsuke facing Gran Metalik in singles action. We see a couple. Yeah, it was all right. I mean, we get to see a couple of knees to the midsection by Shinsuke, and Gran Metalik follows that with an arm drag. The match, in a nutshell, was Nakamura dominating it for most of it, with short spurts of offense coming from Metalik, but one missed moonsault from Metalik, and Nakamura just capitalizes on that, hits him with a Kinshasa for the win. And quickly after, Lince Dorado kind of goes in to look after his teammate, but Cesaro quickly beats down on him, with Kalisto choosing to watch and not helping.
Then Kalisto decides to go in, and Lince Dorado's not having any of it and knocks him down, and Kalisto's upset about that too. So, I mean, clearly they've told us what the outcome of this match is going to be. There's no way this team that can barely, work together is going to take the titles from the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, but who knows? I'd also like to point out that the Lucha House Party members that were not competing were dressed like $1,000,000, with masks and everything.
That's my line. That's my line.
I
How
really
dare
like
you?
It now. I'm starting to use it. I am starting to use it.
So we're gonna jump to Jey Uso. He's backstage. He's all hyped up, because he's he's excited to be facing his cousin. He probably had that steak dinner with him or something like that.
It's hard not to root for Jey Uso. He's just so naive and excited about everything. It's great.
He's
amazing. Knocking on his door, but Roman's not coming out. And then we get a nice video package / recap of this whole tribal chief lineage, the whole family, and what's been going on the past few weeks.
It was really cool because we get to see, some past wrestlers. We get to see their family members. We get to see Rikishi. We get to see Roman's father. Again, like this whole video package hyping up cousin versus cousin. And basically their family members talked about, even growing up, Roman was always the big dog, right? And I have to say that we have to give credit to the WWE for these amazing video packages, because they really do know how to hype up their matches.
Yeah, they've always been good at that. That's never been something to complain about. The video packages have always been good, emotional when they need to be, pumping you up when they need to be, hyping you up. They're good. It must be Mojo Rawley, one of the hype bros, doing these edits.
Oh, man, I haven't heard that name in a while. So we're gonna jump into Jey, who
former 24/7 champion. Mojo. You don't. Wow.
So Jey Uso makes his way into the ring, and he's all hyped up. Roman is backstage, and he's watching at an angle with Roman, with Heyman.
Yeah, an awkward angle.
Yeah. He tells Corey, you know what, you can take the night off because I'm going to be the one taking over the interview. He talks about the look that Roman gave him. And, everybody asking him about the look. He's like, well, I didn't know because my back was, to Roman Reigns.
You mean to tell me he didn't watch one of the many recaps we've seen between last week and this week, or any of the footage that happened? He doesn't watch maybe he's like one of those actors that's like, I'm not watching my work. I don't watch my movies.
So he's like, listen, if you guys want answers, let's ask Roman Reigns. But nothing. He's waiting, but, we keep
really
credit
get to Roman and Paul, but
yeah. So Heyman is actually backstage now, and he says that Jey has got it all wrong. It's not gonna happen when Jey Uso wants it. It's gonna happen when your tribal chief wants it to happen. And a face-to-face discussion will happen in the ring, but it's going to happen tonight, not right now. So Jey knew something was up when Roman changed his phone number and all that. When Roman wasn't basically answering him and acting all weird, but it's all good. It's all love. And then he ends the promo by welcoming him to the Uso Penitentiary.
Yep. I mean, maybe Roman had to change his cell phone. Maybe he had too many people harassing him. Maybe a lot of people, telemarketers, got his phone number, and he was constantly getting calls, and he just changed his number. It's legitimate.
one person that should be changing the number is Matt Riddle, because Corbin keeps calling him and we keep getting these matches. But again, that was just a horrible segue. I actually enjoyed this match between King Corbin and Matt Riddle. And
it felt a little slow, I think. But yeah, it was pretty good. There were 2 pre-match promos. Corbin was disgusted by all the ways that Matt Riddle said bro, and he hopes that one of the ways he says bro tonight would be in pain or misery or agony, which, again, I always find Corbin has very clever lines and has good delivery with his promos. A little corny, too. Riddle just says he's going to basically show the difference between a stallion and a jackass, referring to Corbin as that.
Yeah.
And we have this match, which is, as you said, pretty solid. A little slow, I found.
Yes. Well, I mean, I do have to say that Matt Riddle was charged up, because he the bell does not even ring, and he charges into Baron Corbin, hitting him with multiple strikes. And I actually thought that it was interesting where Riddle kept kind of pushing and putting Corbin in a submission hold, but he wasn't able to because Corbin basically overpowered him. And
it's almost like
we don't get to see this overpowering side of Corbin.
It's almost like the aggression that Matt Riddle was showing was at a detriment to his own performance in the match, because he kept trying to go for submissions and Corbin was able to get out of them, whether it was getting out of a triangle with a power bomb or just escaping an ankle lock. Corbin was always able to do that, and he was always able to take control of the match.
That's a really good point,
smart.
Yeah. And so basically, you are right. It's to his detriment, because he attempts the floating bro, but Corbin, he gets his knees up and hits him with a beautiful-looking end of days for the victory. So I am actually okay with this outcome. I like the fact that Corbin won this match, because right after, usually the winner is interviewed, but this time around, Matt Riddle is interviewed by Kayla, and he's like, Kayla, listen, it sucks to lose, but this is not going to be a setback for me. I'm going to continue to fight hard and turn SmackDown into the bro show. So again, I think it's really nice to see kind of this fire under Matt Riddle. I don't think that they're burying him for all the accusations and whatever. We're not going to get into that. But I do think that it's, instead of just kind of getting Matt Riddle this victory, it kind of maybe adds a little bit to his character as well, where he's not just this laid back, chill guy, that he can also be fiery.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wanted to add to one of the parts of the match that really shows that even though he lost, he didn't really look like a chump. He looked strong in defeat. Mm-hmm. Was at one point, Corbin was just hitting him with right hand after right hand, telling him to stay down. And when he picked up Riddle to do it again, Riddle just collapsed on himself. But it did look like that was a trick on Riddle's part to try to make Corbin think that he was weaker than he actually was, because he's kind of able to take control. And he does go for his moonsault that he misses, unfortunately, because of Corbin's knees. And that leads into a beautiful end of days.
Yeah.
And as you said, post-match interview, Riddle is disappointed, but will still make SmackDown the bro show. He will do the best he can. He's determined to make it the bro show.
Yeah, so next up, we're going to jump to a very, very quick vignette of this mystery woman. We all know it's Carmella. There's not really much to say. She basically writes untouchable with her lipstick on a mirror. And that's it. We're going to jump to...
Yeah, here's what I know about this girl. She likes makeup, jewelry, and she likes the word untouchable. That's what I know so far.
Carmella,
great stuff.
Is it this? This is basically Emelina 3.0, but I'm thinking of a name, Carmella Lina. Okay, but we're gonna jump to Alexa Bliss. She's facing off against Lacey Evans. Before the match, we do get a quick video promo where Alexa Bliss basically calls Lacey Evans a Karen, which I agree.
Yeah,
and it was a decent match.
I felt this one dragged on too long. The story of the match was basically Alexa Bliss was distracted by weird encounters from the Fiend. Lacey Evans was dominating most of the match to a point where I felt it was very excessive. Like, even Michael Cole says Lacey's putting on a clinic. At one point during the match, you hear the Fiend laughing as soon as Alexa takes control, and this basically distracts her to the point where she loses control.
Yeah.
After commercial, the whole arena turns red and we hear the Fiend screeching. Also, that lets Alexa Bliss kind of lose control. But eventually all this blows over to Alexa Bliss getting super fired up to the point where she gets herself DQ'd, beating everybody, beating Lacey Evans up, basically without any stoppage from the ref. The ref could not take control of it at all. I found that it was cool that Alexa Bliss did some throwbacks to what Lacey Evans did to her during the match, like dragging her face across the ropes or pushing her into the corner and stomping a mud hole as well. And all this leads to a Sister Abigail on the outside. And then, again, she goes back to the ring, and she's smiling while the Fiend is laughing. And and the screen turns red again, if I recall correctly. So this is a very interesting development for Alexa Bliss's storyline.
So basically, great recap, by the way.
Thank you. I never get to do these.
I just wanted to say that the whole thing with Alexa Bliss. Okay, so I thought that this match basically was there to tell a story, right? And it was the downward spiral, or the continuation of this downward spiral of Alexa Bliss. And yeah, you're right that it was a clinic from Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans was basically dominating the whole match. I love her heel mannerisms, her trash talking.
She's great at that. Yeah.
I'm going to say this as the biggest compliment to Lacey Evans. She is, to me, Charlotte Light. And again, I say that as the biggest compliment. I feel like Lacey Evans, if she continues to improve like that, she can be a big, big star. And I definitely see that as well. She has a great look as well. And I love the trash talking from her. Going to Alexa Bliss, and like it really surprises me, or actually doesn't surprise me. Like, I'm really happy that we get to see this side of Alexa Bliss. Whoever does her makeup and her hair and everything was just perfect, because you really got to see the toll that the Fiend's laugh and the screeching got to her head. And just when she flipped the switch, in the commentary they even mentioned that how she flipped the switch and she went berserk after. I can't wait for this story, man. And what's really interesting is that when she walks back, or as she's walking, Roman Reigns' theme song hits, and he comes out, and he's kind of all business, and he's looking straight to the ring, and Alexa Bliss kind of keeps staring at Roman, and she's just staring.
And then you can see her looking back toward Roman with this anger, look of anger.
Oh, dude, it was
Roman
menacing.
Is oblivious to it. But it's so great because it's like a foreshadowing of the Fiend versus Roman, and then commentary does mention that Roman did take the title from the Fiend. So I thought this was a very nice touch for that.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Well, so we're gonna jump into the last segment. Roman Reigns, as we mentioned, is in the ring right now, and before Paul Heyman is even going to make a point, or he's about to make a point.
He gets 3 words in, and the Uso music hits. Yeah,
exactly. So Jey Uso's music hits, and he interrupts them. And Roman says that, listen, I would give you the title if I could, but you would not even know what to do with it. You don't know the responsibility that comes with the title, with being on top. You know, you are one half of the greatest tag team of our generation, and our family is so proud of you. But our family relies on me, the tribal chief, to provide for them, and it's always going to be me. And
it can never be you, basically.
It
will never be him. And Jey looks devastated by this information.
Well, we do have to mention that, yes, Jey is looking extremely sad. Roman Reigns at this point is already walking away, and this is where Jey Uso gets on the mic and he answers back, and he's like, what if you're wrong? Right? Yeah. Like, why can't I provide for the family? Why can't I provide for my kids, for my wife, your nephews, right? So people look at you and they say, oh, there goes Mr. Main Event. There goes Mr. WrestleMania. There goes the big dog, the tribal chief. You know what they say to me? Which one are you? Which one of the twins are you? Dude, I was like, oh my God. Like, Jey Uso, I never saw him as like a single star. And again, like, I feel like you don't always need to be a single star. Like, you could be an amazing tag team and that could be your career. And that's incredible. Like, that's, you know, again, like something to not, like, you know, to scuff at. But this one, like this promo and how fired up Jey Uso was, and even how fired up Roman Reigns was, man, like, I am super excited for this feud. And he's like, but, you know, what I'm going to do, though, instead of people asking me which one of the twins I am, on Sunday, I will be known as the one who beat Roman Reigns. And then Roman just kind of walks away. So he's not in scene anymore. He walks away.
He never turned around to face Jey. He just stopped halfway up the ramp and then continued walking. Yeah,
and then Jey Uso is on the ramp. Yeah. And what happens next?
Well, I thought he would get attacked from behind, but no, Jey was walking backstage, and out of nowhere, a big Superman punch. And
out of
Roman
nowhere
gets down to his level and is yelling at him. Like, he's so furious at him. He says, you're going to get your payday, you're going to get your ass whooping, but this is my title. You'll never take it from me. You'll never take my place as the tribal chief, the head of the table.
Dude, I just can't believe it how the WWE deprived us of this Roman Reigns for the
For so
last
long,
4 or 5 years. It's just incredible. And
Imagine this Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, like at one of those times that he fought Brock Lesnar, like one of the million times he did.
I was speechless, man. Like, this was the perfect way to end the show, the perfect go home episode before a pay-per-view to hype up probably the biggest singles match in Jey Uso's career, and possibly also, again, an important match for Roman Reigns as this heel persona that he has. Again, just amazing. And I feel like just this promo alone kind of gave me like just positive vibes, and like this SmackDown was such a good episode.
Agreed. But did you know that Roman and Jey are cousins?
Are they? Please,
did you know?
Tell me more.
Did you know about that?
Show me a couple more video packages of them being cousins. But no, just kind of, again, kidding aside, I think that the Clash of Champions is shaping up to be a really, really good pay-per-view. We're going to be uploading our predictions video on Sunday morning, and again, I think that this is going to be a really, really good show. And if you talk about SmackDown in a nutshell, I feel like maybe the Shinsuke match with Lindsay Dorado, with Gran Metalik, I didn't really care too much for it, and we clearly know where it's leading to with the Lucha House Party kind of being some tensions within the team. The Alexa Bliss Fiend story is top notch, and the whole cousin versus cousin story between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso is incredible.
So they are cousins.
Even the IC title scene is just amazing. I cannot wait for them to kick ass this Sunday. So again, SmackDown was really, really good, but 2 hours is a breeze, man. Like it's a breeze when you have, again, like a good opening match and a good closer as well. As you were saying, a great sandwich.
Yeah, it's always good to have the great bread in your sandwich. I agree. This episode of SmackDown was better. I think it was far more effective at being a go-home episode than Raw was. Mm-hmm. Only slightly. Raw wasn't terrible. I really enjoyed this. The most important segments were at the beginning, at the end, and they had very, very huge repercussions on the pay-per-view we're going to see, which is great. Anything else in the middle, maybe not super related, like Money in the Bank saga is not featured on the Clash of Champions and some other stuff, but that's fine. We needed that stuff. So most of the matches were solid. Some of them felt like they dragged on a bit, but overall, I enjoyed this episode. And like you said, the 2 hours is a factor in this because it's a lot easier to sit there for 2 hours and watch it as opposed to 3 hours.
Always right, my man. So that was our recap for SmackDown, the Go Home episode. If you do enjoy our content, like I was mentioning at the beginning, make sure to subscribe. And if you are listening to us in audio format, you can also subscribe as well. Leave a comment. It definitely helps us to raise awareness of our podcast. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
So we're not supposed to trust 1% milk, right? What about like anything else? I guess skim milk is off the table too.
Bro, if you're not basically eating meat all day, every day, you're not living.
No, of course, I agree. You have to be consuming the meat to be living.